Right, we're carrying on with this salt prep. Right, with this question, if you look, describe how you could use a method of crystallization to obtain a pure dry sample of ammonium sulfate. Right, so the first thing that comes to mind is that little diagram. Let me go get it. Right, here we are. So this is from the book. Is the salt soluble? No. If it's insoluble, you use the method called precipitation method, right? You mix the two solutions, you end up with a precipitate, and you just filter it out, wash it with distilled water. If it is soluble, this is the key question. If it's sodium, potassium, or ammonium salt, you're testing for these ions. No, you're not testing for these ions. Sorry, I'm mixing the two. You're testing, or you're trying to produce these salts. Then you go to, if it is, you go straight to titration method, and you react it with sodium, potassium hydroxide, or sodium potassium carbonate, or use ammonia solution, right? And then the other one is you use excess, we've come across this, you use excess solid metal, right? Metal oxide, hydroxide, or carbonate, and then you filter it off, and then you evaporate, and so on. But because they've said ammonium up here, we've gone down the titration route. So that's the first thing that should come to your mind. Right, okay, let's get rid of this. It's always good to know that. Right, now, if you read further on, they've said they've given you a dilute solution of ammonium sulfate. So they've done the titration, right? So 4 marks. So what they want you to do from here is to say, right, put solution in evaporating basin, and then what do? You heat using Bunsen burner until point of crystallization, until point of, that's where you you've got your basin there, there's your solution, you're heating it, you dip a glass rod in there, take it away, cool it. If little crystals form, you know it's reached the point of crystallization, you've evaporated enough water off, and then allow solution to cool, so crystals can form. Then what you do is you filter. Now what you want to do is just add a few details, always by default, so it's simple. Filter using filter funnel and filter paper. What's the purpose of that? To obtain ammonium sulfate crystals or residue crystals. Right, once you've done that, you, what do you call, right, you do not, although you could, you do not wash off. Why? Because it's soluble. and then just leave in a warm place to dry. Done. Yeah, so watch this. Let me just highlight this. So be careful with this because, again, 1 second, see if I can get hold of that. Right, okay, so now we've got this here. All the ones in green are soluble, right? But if you notice, these here, sodium, potassium, ammonium, they're the titration ones, right? And they're all, if you look, all of them are soluble. They're in green, right? So what that means is if you wash with distilled water, what's gonna happen is you're gonna end up dissolving them and you'll get less crystals. Right, just wanted to highlight that. Let's get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Right, okay, good. Now here's the other question. If you look at you can make a salt by reacting an acid and an insoluble base. So they've used copper 2 oxide. Remember, copper 2 oxide, just it's black in color. You need to know that anyway. Not in this case, but right. So this is the method that they use. It's you're adding. This is the add the excess metal. Right, where are we? Let me just go get that. Right. So it's gonna be soluble. It's not sodium, potassium, or ammonium. So we're gonna react excess solid metal, metal oxide, metal hydroxide, or metal carbonate. Any of those. Yeah. So basically some sort of solid until it's in excess, and then we filter off the excess. So that's what they're doing here. So you have a beaker of sulfuric acid, roughly. You don't have to be, because you're going to add excess. Remember in the previous questions, you're going to add excess metal. So that'll make sure it's all done. You heat it up to increase the rate of reaction. You add a bit of copper 2 oxide, mix it. Keep adding copper 2 oxide until it's in excess. That's when it stops disappearing. Right. You then filter off the excess, and then you can, from there, you can heat it till it reaches point of crystallization. Whoa. And then you just leave in a warm place to dry. We can do that. But right, let's crack on. Why is acid added to increase rate of reaction? Why are we warming it? Because of that. How would the student know the copper 2 oxide is in excess? Because it stops disappearing. It stops disappearing. Or you'll end up with a it stops disappearing, or you end up with a layer of black solid at the bottom. Why is the mixture filtered? Right, again we said to remove excess solid, or in this case copper 2 oxide from the mixture. State the color of the filtrate. Right, what color is a copper ion usually? Blue. Because copper here is another name that kids use is policeman. So a copper is a policeman. They have blue lights when they're on an emergency call. So that's how you can remember it, copper and blue. Right now, right from the filtrate, right, it's a 5 marker. So let's do what's going on there. Ooh, hey, gone mad. Let's look at this question here. Right, from the solution, they gave us 4 marks. From the solution, they're giving us 5 marks. So the filtrate here, that's the solution that comes out. So you know, you've got the more details you can add, the better it is, right? So first of all, we put some solution in an evaporating dish and heat using a Bunsen burner. It's the point of crystallization. When the point of crystallization, when the point of crystallization is reached, turn off the Bunsen burner and allow to cool. Then what happens? I suppose you can filter off if you can't wait. So filter off excess solution and leave crystals in a warm place to dry. Or what you can do is you can say, let's do it this way actually. I'll show you a better way, it'll just cover everything. And place crystals on a paper towel and leave in a warm place to dry. You can leave them on the filter paper and put them in a warm place to dry. And that's it. So that'll be your 5 marks. So look, so according to the mark scheme, you heat until crystals are formed, then you allow to cool, and then you filter off excess solution, and then you leave in a warm place to dry. Done. Those are your marks that you can pick up. So you get a maximum of 5. No, we're not interested in that one. Right, that is that one done then. That is complete. Yeah, we're not interested in titration ones. That's it. So okay, there should be enough there for you. Excellent.